It was a cold afternoon in Washington, D.C., the kind where the city's heartbeat slows under gray skies. Inside the White House, President Donald Trump sat in the Oval Office, staring at his golden teacup, waiting for one of the smartest men in the world, Bill Gates. Their meeting wasn't on the official schedule. It was informal, a private invitation that raised eyebrows in political circles. Gates arrived with his usual calm demeanor, simple blue sweater, modest smile, and the aura of a man who carries a billion ideas in silence. As he entered, Trump stood up, extending his hand firmly. "Bill, glad you could make it. Let's have some tea, American tea, the best in the world." Gates chuckled softly, his eyes observing every detail of the powerful room that had hosted generations of decisions shaping humanity. But today wasn't about politics or technology, it was about curiosity. Two giants from different worlds sat across each other, one powered by ego, the other by intellect. Steam rose from their cups like two opposing ideologies meeting in midair. Trump began. "Bill, everyone says you're a genius. I say, why not use that genius to make America even greater?" Gates smiled politely. "Mr. President, greatness comes not from power, but from purpose." For a moment, silence filled the room, a silence heavy with the clash of two worlds. Trump leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk. "Purpose, huh? My purpose is jobs, economy, winning. You've built computers, amazing stuff. But tell me, how do we make people think like you?" Gates took a sip of tea, calm and composed. "It's not about thinking like me," he said softly. "It's about giving people the tools to think freely." Trump raised an eyebrow, half amused, half intrigued. "Tools? Like your computers?" Gates nodded. "Exactly. When you empower minds, you empower nations." Trump chuckled. "Sounds good, but you can't tweet that in under 280 characters." They both laughed, briefly breaking the invisible tension. Beneath the humor, there was mutual respect. One admired wealth and influence, the other admired innovation and progress. Gates began speaking about renewable energy, global health and education, his words painting a future of logic and compassion. Trump listened, but occasionally interrupted with his signature confidence. "Bill, I like your ideas, but we've got to make sure America stays first. That's the deal." Gates replied gently, "Mr. President, when the world rises, America rises with it. Knowledge isn't a race, it's a bridge." The words lingered in the air, echoing against the gold-trimmed walls. Trump looked at Gates. This wasn't a man chasing headlines or applause. This was someone who saw decades ahead. And for the first time that day, Trump paused, not to respond, but to think. The conversation drifted toward the future of technology and humanity. Gates spoke about artificial intelligence, warning that unchecked innovation could outgrow human ethics. "Machines don't have morals," he said, his tone deep and reflective. "That's why leaders must." Trump smirked. "Well, I've got great morals. People tell me all the time." Gates smiled kindly. "I'm sure they do. But AI won't listen to applause, Mr. President. It listens to data." The room fell quiet again. The ticking clock on the wall seemed louder than before. Trump stirred his tea, breaking the silence. "You know, Bill, you're different. Most tech guys talk about profits. You talk about problems," Gates replied, "because the world's biggest problems can't be solved by money alone." For a moment, Trump's expression softened. He looked at the man before him, not as a billionaire rival, but as a visionary carrying the burden of humanity's future. "You ever get tired of it?" Trump asked suddenly. "Being the smartest guy in every room?" Gates hesitated, then admitted, "Sometimes. Intelligence can isolate you. It makes you see what others ignore." Trump leaned back. "I get that. Power does the same thing." That rare confession hung between them like an unspoken truth. Both men, in their own ways, were prisoners of their gifts. The tea had gone cold, but the conversation had just begun to warm something deeper. Understanding. As the meeting neared its end, the mood turned unexpectedly reflective. Trump, uncharacteristically quiet, asked, "Bill, if you could fix one thing about the world, what would it be?" Gates paused, looking out the Oval Office window where the American flag waved proudly. "Ignorance," he said simply. "It's the root of every problem. Poverty, disease, division. Once people learn, they stop fearing each other." Trump nodded slowly. "Interesting. I fight fake news every day. Maybe that's my version of ignorance." Gates smiled faintly. "Then maybe we're fighting the same battle, just with different weapons." They both laughed again, a rare moment of shared humanity between two icons often misunderstood by the world. As Gates stood to leave, Trump extended his hand once more. "Bill, you're something else. I don't always agree with you, but I like you." Gates shook his hand firmly. "Disagreement is where progress begins, Mr. President." As Gates exited the room, Trump watched him go, his mind oddly quieter than usual. For once it wasn't filled with slogans or applause. It was filled with thought. Later that night, Gates would return to his quiet home, pour himself another cup of tea, and reflect on the strange meeting. Two men, shaped by different worlds, one by ambition, the other by innovation, had met not as rivals, but as reflections of what power and intellect mean in modern times. And perhaps, somewhere in that conversation, both discovered something unexpected. That even at the highest peaks of success, the human desire for understanding remains the same.